While my parents were conservative, I was ambitious. While my parents were calm, I was aggressive. While I was angry with everything, my parents were perfectly fine with a lot of imperfection around them.
My generation is a generation of fighters, of risk takers, of believers.
New India is not actually New India.
We are at a crossroad.
We caught in a dichotomy of old ways and new ways.
I thought it was heading towards a revolution and a lot of things would change. But now again, the hopes have kind of turned into a little distant dream.
Don't turn into someone who's just asking to be fed information, rather go searching for it. I live for myself and I have my own space and my own little world.
We are living in a generation where we are spoiled for choices, so we don't know what we want and what we don't want.
I feel that choices confuse you more. The more choice available, the more you get confused.
The peer pressure has increased. Okay, I'm having whiskeys. Okay, now I'm having single malts. Okay, I'm having now like 25-year-old.
They're not being able to stand for themselves and just please everyone, and so it's more of that the whole fear of being left out is what is causing this whole thing.
Everybody wants to be rich and richer. So, and there is no limit to earthly desires, like all of us have endless number of desires. The more of your desires will be fulfilled, you'll have those many more coming in.
In 1947, every family was given, maybe 4 meters of cloth, and you had to sort of make a living from that 4 meters of cloth. You have to make your own pajama, you had to make your own shirt, etc.
In the 80s and the 90s, I think economically there have been ups and downs, and severe lows at that. So I think we were virtually on the brink of bankruptcy when Manmohan Singh, who was finance minister then, he pulled us out through the crisis. I think maybe that was the turning point in Indian economy, because when you are in your deepest low and you are able to pull yourself back from there, then you can only go forward. So I think that kind of changed the mindset of a lot of people.
I was still in school when this happened, so I didn't understand much at that time. But as I grew, I slowly understood what this meant. This virtually meant that foreign companies were allowed to freely invest in India, subject to a certain percentage and subject to certain sector caps. It increased competition. The quality of goods available to people improved. They wanted to set up shop in India. They wanted to hire Indians. Monetary condition of the people also improved. It led to improvement in standard of living of the people.
I definitely think global brands coming in is a good thing.
People have changed. It has changed. If you see, most of us used to, like in our family or anywhere around us, they used to only be in saris. It's like seeing aunties into jeans is like, we feel happy, even however bad they look, but they are happy, It's a change in mentality. It's a change in mentality in them, their husbands, their in-laws, and that's a big change. Dressing actually defines who you are, how you feel about yourself, and if somewhere we are empowering women in our state, even mentally, it's actually a big thing, We are not the sari-clad women, we are the jeans and the t-shirts, and we do go drinking and pubbing. We are not just into a home with that guy.
I'm so heavily attached to the Western brand. I think it's more about wanting to be someone else. The Western culture is something we love. We see our sitcoms, we see these independent Americans walking about, zipping about, wearing what they want, saying what they want, eating what they want, and it's this huge personification of a life that we would want to lead.
Living in towns and cities, we feel India has changed. The new India, you have, you have all these multinational companies coming in, and people are working, and people are getting swanky jobs, and they're driving around in swanky cars. But go to a village in India, I don't think life has changed much, and that is where I guess things might take a very terrible turn for India.
So my monthly income is divided largely into savings, charity, and a small portion of spending. So I try to save at least 50 to 60% of what I get every month. It's a rule. It's important because looking at maybe investing in the future in a house or some such. And then there's a huge portion of it which goes to a school in Afghanistan every quarter to sponsor the education of a girl.
Almost 80% of my salary is saved.
Shoes, clothes, belts, jewelry, it's all non-essential. I have enough, but I can never get enough.
I think majority of my expenditure is on either socializing, meeting up with friends, going out for dinners or going out for a movie, shopping, eating out.
Almost 15 to 20% of my salary I plan to save for my daughter. So we have a separate account for her and we typically keep it into her account, transfer money into her account. So her account balance is pretty big right now. Her account has more money than my account. It's for her education, it's for maybe her marriage whenever she grows up. So for all that stuff.
Always, by and large, almost everybody is brand blind.
I'm not a very brand conscious person.
I love Louis Vuitton. I'm a bag and shoe freak.
I love watching all the Hindi serials. They are crap. They are made of desperate, very bad makeup. No one dresses up like that. In India, no one wears 5 kilos of jewelry and 20 kilos of saris and goes to sleep. It's a farce. I love still watching it. It's beautiful.
Actors have a huge amount of influence on people. They want to be like the actors.
I think it's changed for the worse because there was a time when only fair skin and fairly curvaceous bodies were okay.
Kareena Kapoor is a very famous actress who, went ahead and, exercised and, lost a lot of weight to the extent that, they started calling her size 0. Because she had, transformed drastically.
But now we're selling appearances, we're selling bodies, we're selling skin tones, and we're photoshopping and selling them. We're not selling the real thing. So we're emulating the wrong things, and our young ones are not able to see or learn from our experience. But here they're risking their lives, trying to lose weight the wrong way or just harming their bodies.
We've become more, orchestrated and unnatural in some ways. I feel we are becoming more, controlled and very purified and very delicate.
I think companies in India really need to look at what they are giving back to the society rather than just what they are getting from the society.
I think the use of a company in any established democracy or whatever form of government is to feed into the government's needs to develop the country.
What is it that you are doing at your end to make the lives of those people better? If not society at a broader level, at least giving some positive return to your own employees.
Amul, brought about the whole initiative in Gujarat. The way Amul got women, they made women independent and they provided them with job and opportunities, and how they, Amul was a brand which thought about the people it was investing in, and they did a lot more for the community rather than just selling their brand, and that is why it is one of the most loved brands in India. And everybody remembers Amul.
However rich you are, you always want to do something for the others. It's always there. We always want to do something good to others.
The rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. So this divide that is happening, it will obviously lead to anxiety and will obviously lead to friction between the two halves. There is anxiety that where is our next bread coming from? If we don't make the major chunk of the population happy, then where is our country going? And if we don't keep the people who have the money happy, then who is investing in our country? So it's a double-edged sword.
I mean, if they rise one day, the people who have money will be having a tough time, and we are already seeing this happening in some parts of India in the form of Naxal movement. So I think that thing can actually spread to all other parts of India if the benefits of India's economic growth do not reach the people at the base of the pyramid.
Better life is where you have money, you have success, you have money, but you don't have mental peace. Right now, I think I don't even have success and money, and I would not say I'm entirely at mental peace. So I have none.
truly enjoyable time life would be, to spend as much time with your loved ones and have the minimum amount of money that you need to be able to survive.
Quality of life means not material things. We're in India. Quality of life at one level means sending a girl child in the middle of the night in a public transport system. We're not there yet. I don't feel safe for women in India. I don't feel safe for my daughter. I don't feel safe for my wife out there working.
I think my parents are living a more content life. I have a little discontentment.
The more I become the consumer, the more I want in life.
Insecurity that I may lose this, that is something which definitely scares everybody,
Money's done some wonderful things, but unfortunately, it can corrupt you more often than not. It's that kind of a quicksand where once you start going into it, you just go deeper, deeper and deeper.